Welcome to the Binge List. I am Paul Chappell.
And I am Curtis Hood. And tonight, we wrap this thing up. This Game of Thrones thing. And boy, oh boy, oh boy. In my opinion, this was an absolute huge disappointment.
Yeah.
I want the 10 years of my life back that I just gave up for this Disney princess ending.
I was going to say 8 years, but yeah, it has been 10 years.
It's been 10 years. We had to wait 2 for the last one.
Oh, God. All the people I recommended this show to, I'm offering you an apology right now.
Well, it was good until they had to finish up this last season, and then they just rushed through it to get it done so they could go off and do other things and ruin another franchise.
Well, that's the rumor right now that I don't even know if it's a rumor. It's been confirmed
I think
by
it's been
Disney.
confirmed. Yeah, they're doing
Dan Weiss, and I had to look at these guys' names just so I could tear them a new one because I've never bothered to learn their name. I always say George R.R. Martin is the
but
the writer, but we can't
put this on him.
No, we can't. So Dan Weiss, David Benioff, I don't know how you say it.
Benioff, I think.
Benioff. It doesn't matter, but because
I don't think they were even present for the writing of the last 6 episodes.
But the rumor is, well, not even a rumor. They are going to do the new Star Wars franchise, which has its own problems right now.
And they will kill it the rest of the way like they did the Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Man.
If you watch my other show, Magic Hour, you know that I'm not a big fan of the new Star Wars franchise. I just thought it was repetitive, and
the more they make, the worse it gets.
Yeah.
Isn't that what you told me earlier?
right.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
So they managed to not only rush through in 5 episodes, one. And there was some good stuff where the Battle of Winterfell and the killing of the Night King, which was rushed.
Yeah.
And then the sacking of King's Landing was rushed. And in this one, man, there were so many plot holes you could drain spaghetti in it.
Yeah.
It was terrible. And
There was a lot of feel good stuff they tried to throw in there. I kept. You remember when they were talking about this last season, how it was going to be bittersweet? I guess that was George R.R. Martin too. He said the ending was going to be bittersweet, and it was just saccharine, man. It was
canned trash.
First of all, it was predictable. We knew Jon Snow was going to be when Tyrion is arrested at the beginning of the episode and.
For letting Jamie go.
And Jon Snow goes to visit him. And they have a scene for about 20 minutes. I
15-minute monologue.
I was nodding.
Nodding off.
I was nodding off like midway between that conversation. And it's basically Tyrion convincing Jon to kill Daenerys.
But she's my queen. She's my queen.
He always does the wrong thing.
And he will freaking bend the knee.
He's honorable when he shouldn't be honorable, and he's treacherous when he shouldn't be treacherous. And I don't see what was so bad about her argument. Oh yeah, she killed some kids. Kids get killed during wars. Okay, that's what happens when you leave them in a war zone. And that was pretty much their only argument. And they were executing Lannister men. So what?
Well, and here and back to the terrible, absolutely horrendous writing of these last episodes is they completely assassinated the character of Daenerys Targaryen in these last. I mean, she went from 8 years of being just and kind and merciful.
Yeah.
In 2 episodes, she's become the Mad Queen. And I didn't like the way they did that. Because then it led to, and of course we're going to be giving spoilers to this, but you didn't miss much. it set up Jon having to go in there, and they've got 48 guards guarding Tyrion, but not a one single unsullied guarding Daenerys. And Jon just walks by Drogon like he's the pet rolled up on the porch, and it was just him and Dany in the what was that, the Red Keep?
Yeah.
What was left of it. And so Jon finally gives her that kiss that if he'd have given her that kiss 2 episodes ago, a lot of people in King's Landing would still be alive. But he gives her that kiss just so he can deceive her, and
She saved the Seven Kingdoms. They had no chance against the White Walkers.
Right.
And this is how they repaid her. Because she killed some kids. By they were in a war zone and they got killed. That's called collateral damage. It happens.
See, but if they would have taken more time to explain her thought process in this, everybody wouldn't be up in arms saying that she'd gone mad. And I mean, it was just too rushed. But then they go from rush on 5 episodes to on this one, they've got like 2 10 to 15 minute monologues by Tyrion. In the last, 80 minutes of the entire series, they give Tyrion 2 15-minute monologues.
And Tyrion was the worst hand that Dany, worst advisor, period, that Dany ever had. He's the one, didn't he come up with the whole thing? Oh, let's send some guys beyond the wall to get a White Walker to convince my sister to help us fight.
Yep.
And because of that, the White Walkers got a dragon.
Which only made them able to cross the wall.
Well, yeah, right. That helped them complete their goal.
They would have never gotten past the wall.
And plus, it didn't help anything because Cersei never joined them.
But wait, there's more. So, in all of this craziness and plot holes, Bran becomes king. Bran.
But have we already said Dany gets stabbed by Jon Snow?
Yeah, I said that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm just.
And then they cut that, and then next thing you know, it's 3 weeks later, and they're all the characters that you wondered what happened to, all the lords and ladies of the Seven Kingdoms, are all meeting up after Dany's died.
Yeah.
And they're supposed to decide what happens to Tyrion. Is that what was happening there?
I don't know, man.
It just...
Well, let's back up though. So Jon Snow stabs Daenerys. Drogon can sense it somehow. Flies up there. We think he's about to get killed by Drogon. Drogon turns to the Iron Throne
and takes it out on her.
He's like, "F you, chair."
I'm not gonna cook the guy who did it. I'm gonna melt the hell out of this chair.
We were watching YouTube videos before the show. We were watching that old Rick James skit.
Yeah.
Where Rick James says, "F your couch." So Drogon says,
"Fuck your chair. Fuck your chair." Yeah.
And then he picks up Daenerys and he flies away. I'm like, really? Somebody was writing that. You gotta imagine. They were in the writing room. Okay, well, what happens next? He picks her up. Okay, and he flies away. Brilliant.
Yeah, and that's the end of Drogon's story.
Somebody actually wrote that, and they all said, "Oh, that is awesome, man."
And then they're like,
he burns the chair.
And then it's like all the violin music, and everybody's parting ways, and nobody's going, well, if that dragon decides to come back, he gonna mess everybody up. But
I was praying that Drogon was going to drop in and just burn all the Starks. I hate all the Starks now.
Oh, it was so bad. What they did to all these beloved characters. All these beloved characters. And then, oh my God, Bronn shows up and he's part of the Tyrion's small council. He's the master of coin.
This is the worst.
Oh, Lord.
And then they had that scene where who suggested that they create a democracy and everybody laughed?
Oh, Samwell.
Yeah.
Samuel was like, we should have the people vote. And they're like,
what? Or you might as well have my horse vote too. And it's like,
yeah. Oh, Samwell.
It wasn't even funny though.
And then they're like, and everybody's like, we should make Bran king. And Sansa's like,
brilliant.
The North will not be participating.
Oh, yeah.
The North is never going to bend knee to anybody except her. Because they all bended their knee to her when she got back to the North.
Robot Boy becomes king.
Yeah, Robo Boy. I would have been completely tripped out if he'd have rolled in his wheelchair and he had all the swords sticking up. If he'd have made a wheelchair out of the swords of all the defeated.
Oh God.
So it was
It was horrible in every
mean,
way. And then they said, well, what are we going to do with Jon Snow? We can't release him because then the Unsullied will get angry. The Dothraki will get angry. But if we kill him, the North will get angry. So they say, oh, we'll send him to the Night's Watch. What?
What is the Night's Watch watching?
What are they watching?
Apparently.
And he gets to the Night's Watch, and the wildlings are behind the wall waiting for him. And he leads them out to do what?
I don't know,
what is the purpose of the Night Watch? They killed all the White Walkers.
But in the process, he finally loved on Ghost.
Oh, yeah, he hugged Ghost.
He finally gave... Oh, so many people were triggered about that.
You think they actually flew him in and shot that?
Well, I did watch a thing. I watched a thing on Ghost, and they were talking about how hard it was, like visually, because of course it's a visual effect, because he's the size of a horse, right? And so apparently it's very expensive for them to make the scenes with the direwolves once the direwolves were fully grown. That's why you haven't seen them a lot lately. Apparently it's not as expensive to make a dragon for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But they said that they haven't used an actual dog in any of those scenes for a while. It's always been like stock footage that they've used to create the visual effects for it.
Yeah.
And that's why you saw that really stupid scene of Ghost in the Battle of Winterfell, where he's just kind of standing there not doing anything. And like no people get in the frame with the dog.
Yeah.
So anyway, it was just bad. I don't pretend to understand the complexities of Hollywood and making a show. However, the most popular show in the world of all time, I believe, as far as viewership and, budgets, $33 million an episode to make. Man, there's a bunch of writers out there. You would think they'd be able to figure something out to put a good ending to this story, but they did not. It was right out of Disney, and it was very disappointing.
Yeah, I was just praying for some kind of curveball that they were gonna cut to Dany somewhere with Drogon, and she was gonna wake up and have blue eyes. Well, she already has blue eyes, but
the blue eyes,
the White Walker blue eyes, and they're gonna play this sinister music, and you're gonna be like,
the Night Queen.
Something, give me something.
I know, but they didn't, dude. And
Give me this.
And we held on to the very end, hoping that they were going to throw a little tidbit in there. Now, there are rumors, and I think even confirmed rumors of prequels for this, right?
Yeah, I guess.
And I think they're going to do like Aegon's Conquest or the First Men, something like that. Like go back and tell the story in prequels.
Yeah.
And I don't want it unless it goes.
It's not gonna be. It's not gonna be as good.
As I said before, it's
it
hard
can't-
to
it
bottle
can't-
the lightning twice.
Yeah.
But then when you have the lightning bottle, you need to use it, right?
You can't. The problem here is the reason Game of Thrones works is they had all these tricks. They purposely, and George R. Martin has talked about this. They purposely led you down a path to believe, okay, Ned Stark gets killed, so what was the next logical step? Well, his son's going to get revenge on him. Then they had the son killed. So his whole stick was to subvert your expectations, when really a whole time Jon Snow was going to be the one who kind of got revenge.
Well, I mean, after the last scene of Bronn where he corners Tyrion and Jaime in the pub back in Winterfell, right?
Yeah.
And he corners them, and he's got them at crossbow point. And, you know, that storyline, it looked like it was going somewhere. And then it just, the next thing you know, Bronn's sitting on the small council.
It feels like, because Bronn could have been very interested. If they would have actually had Bronn participate in the whole fight against the North, that might have been interesting, because he's all about the money. But I would say about 3/4 of the stuff they did was a response to what they thought the audience wanted. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but you...
So you know, they know everybody likes Bronn, so we can't have Bronn do anything interesting. He's got to be, you know, he's got to be on a small council at the end. You know, that's the kind of thinking they were having. And I just...
Well, guys, you know, if you're like us, and I think I speak for Paul when I say this, that we've invested a lot of time and energy into this last season of Game of Thrones, and there's nothing worse than having expectations that are not met.
You're right.
And they dropped the ball big time. But, you know, it is so hard, and so many great shows, great series come to an end, and these writers and show creators don't know how to finish it.
Yeah.
Or, you know, their motivation is somebody's not going to pay for any more seasons, so they've got to come to an end. With that, that's understandable. But with HBO, from what I read, was willing to take this show on for at least another full season. And Dan Weiss and David Benioff were like, nope, we're done. We want to go do something else. And when you create something like Game of Thrones and then you end it that way, it's...
I guarantee you, if they were paying $33 million an episode, they were probably making $300 million an episode.
Oh, absolutely. If that was their budget to spend.
I was watching I think I was listening to a podcast. Somebody was talking about Seinfeld and how near the end of Seinfeld, he was making $1 million an episode. And then it comes out later, they were making $100 million an episode. NBC was on Seinfeld. So whatever, if they're paying you that type of money, they are making 10 times what they're paying you.
Absolutely.
In the network world.
And so HBO was still a cash cow. I mean, goodness gracious. Imagine the people who just bought an HBO subscription to watch these last 6 episodes.
Right.
I mean, imagine the money that HBO made in that. And subsequently, what they paid Dan and David to make these last 6 episodes. You know? So, watch at your own risk. Very, very upset at the way that this ended and how they paid homage to their fans by just not really caring what we think. They just wanted to put an ending to it.
They just wanted to give it an ending. I mean, like I said, some of it was based on what they thought the audience wanted. But
well, at least all those ghost people finally got John to pet him. What would you say were the best two things in the show? In this last episode?
The only moments I felt something was, I mean, I didn't feel anything throughout the episode. The only time I actually felt something, though, genuinely, was when Tyrion finds Cersei and Jaime.
Yeah, that was probably the most touching.
That kind of got me a little bit.
I mean,
and the other one, well, it would probably be Brienne filling out Jaime's
writing his final chapter.
Yeah, that
literally writing his final chapter.
Yeah.
And then what was that whole scene with Sam when he comes in there and it's a song of ice and fire? What the hell was that all about?
I think that actually came from George R.R. Martin, though. He has said that Sam is actually the character that's closest to him, because he's fat and bookish and all of that,
nerdy.
So,
which I'm nerdy, so I can say it. It's my people.
I think that is something he's actually going to do in one of the last books. Is Sam is going to be designated as the person who actually wrote the history of
I always thought that would be
this phase of
right.
The
Seven Kingdoms.
The
Six
history
Kingdoms.
The Six Kingdoms.
The Six Kingdoms in the north.
So that is actually, I think, something that came from him. So I didn't have a problem with that. But why would they call it the Song of Ice and Fire? Because what was the?
Well, the Song of Ice and Fire, because half of the story was about the Night King and the ice. And the other half of the story was about Daenerys and all her fire that she brought. And then you had the Game of Thrones in between. But this turned into the Game of Thrones was completely obliterated with one dragon.
Yeah.
Because at that point, Dany knew she was that she didn't need anybody's approval. She just take everything by force.
Yeah.
But she never saw it coming when John. But we freaking saw it coming.
And that was lazy writing. She doesn't trust John at that point.
But
why would she be alone with him?
And why wouldn't Drogon destroy him after he killed your mother?
And what was the whole purpose in showing that he was Aegon Targaryen? That went nowhere.
It went nowhere. Nothing. I thought for a brief second that Drogon was going to blast him, and then he was going to survive it. And then everybody was going to be like, oh, but that
would have actually been interesting.
Yes.
Than what they did.
Because they even led you up to believe, because he was sucking his breath in and he was looking right at Jon. And Jon's like even preparing himself to be blasted.
Man.
And then he's like shoots it off at the Iron Throne and melts it.
I was kind of hoping that the dragon was going to breathe life into her or something. And she was going to get up and they were going to have a nice little fight or something. Something, man.
I make the mistake of going on to the threads. Like I follow Game of Thrones Facebook feed and Twitter and all that. And I made the mistake of starting to buy into like these fan theories. Mm-hmm. But man, if some of these fans were writers, the show would have ended really well. Because they had these complex storylines and, a web of deceit and all this stuff that would have ended.
There were so many ways that this is just. I just.
So, what did you say your top two was?
I said when Tyrion finds Jaime and Cersei, and when Brienne signs
the chapter. Okay,
the chapter for Jaime.
And I would say the two most satisfying moments in it were. I like the fact that when the gates to the Night's Watch opened up. Tormund was standing there, and I was
I
like,
said, that was another example of them doing fan service. Because why is he still at Castle Black?
Yeah, why were any of the wildlings still there? They didn't know Jon was going to end up killing Daenerys and then end up. I mean,
where were they going? Why is Jon walking north?
And what is the wall protecting them from now?
Nothing, man.
It was so bad.
They would have been just so much better. If Drogon would have lit Jon on fire, that would have been satisfying.
And it would have been almost just.
Yeah.
You know? Because he did murder the queen, and he was sneaky about it. He gave her that kiss that if he'd have given her a couple episodes... Did I already say this? If he'd have given her that kiss a couple episodes, a lot of people wouldn't have died. But... So much for 10 years. It's an episode like that where it just kind of left us hanging. And I wore the shirt, and it makes a lot of sense. Embrace the suck, because this episode sucked.
We both knew. I knew in my heart it was going to suck.
I kind of did too.
But, I mean, I was praying for it to end. I was like, no.
Did you read any of the leaks? Did you read the leak?
No, I avoid that stuff like the plague. But the longer it went on, the more cringeworthy the episode got. And I was just praying for it.
The leaks, there were actually a leak, and I kept getting them in those feeds where people would post it.
Yeah.
And on the leaks, they were real. 100% real, but it was so stupid that I didn't think it was real. Like when they said that Bran was going to sit on the Iron Throne, I'm like, why? Why in the world would they put Bran on the Iron Throne?
That may still.
I mean, how is he qualified to be king? What does he know about running a kingdom? Or 7 of them? It was just so stupid. There were so many better choices.
And Sansa is queen in the north.
And here's the other thing, though. Okay, if Jon would have told everybody he was Aegon Targaryen, which several people that were still alive at the end knew he was Aegon Targaryen. If he had told them that, then the people would have backed him, even though he killed Daenerys. Isn't that okay? If you're trying to take over and rule, don't you kill the current leader? So why is he imprisoned by the Unsullied who are just followers? You know, he was royalty.
Yeah.
And then what's Tyrion when he's... never mind, I could do this all night.
And Arya. Don't forget Arya.
Oh,
she's going to sell.
And death rides a pale horse. Who'd she kill? Nobody.
Well, I was kind of actually happy about that. She didn't do anything, but she could have died in the last episode. As far out, you know what? If Arya had been burned by that dragon in the last episode, then I could see Jon stabbing her. You killed my sister, because he loved Arya like nobody else. If that would have been, and that would have got me going, wow, now that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Because they pretty much gave up. They didn't have anything for her to do when it really came down to it. Oh, she's going to be an explorer?
And what is the kid's name from the Vale? The Prince of the Vale. What was his name?
Oh, Robert Arryn.
And he was the one that was like nestling at his mom's bosom?
Yes.
You haven't seen him in...
Thankfully, they didn't give him any lines. He had like one line.
His line was I. I.
And no one... They had Edmure Tully. I actually knew who Edmure Tully was. But no one else watching this show probably... Just because I've read the books, too. But and I've already put his face to that
And he was
character.
He was trying to say, I need to be the king because I know. And Sansa's like, Uncle, sit down.
But I don't think anybody got that joke because they didn't know who that guy was.
I had to ask you who he was.
So just so many.
All right. Well, to keep this thing from running on forever, where do we go from here?
Well, there's no more Game of Thrones in my life. I'm purging Game of Thrones from my body.
So no prequels in the plans for you?
I might give it a couple episodes, but I just don't think we know all the tricks. Game of Thrones was about subverting expectations, subverting fantasy tropes, subverting just everything you thought you knew about the good guys and bad guys. Yeah. It was the most. I wouldn't say it was the most realistic show ever. I mean, it did have all those fantasy elements, but it subverted your expectations. But it subverted them in a way that made you interested.
It made you think.
It had such good. There were so many good characters that even when they killed off some good characters, you could still follow it. So
I agree.
I just don't see them doing that again. Not without George R.R. Martin's help, and we know his writing process. We know he takes decades, literally decades. I think he's been writing this series, and he's still not done. He's been writing them for 30 years, or close to 30 years.
And he's got 2 more books to finish.
Yes. And he's already said he's having problems with them. So how is he going to...
Oh, what a legacy if you start this and you don't finish it. What a legacy. What would he be remembered for? Not finishing it, probably.
Yeah. This happened before, though. I think Robert Sanderson didn't finish The Wheels of Time or something?
I'll take your word for that.
It's happened before. These guys, they think they're going to live
forever. I look like I read. I'm actually reading the Game of Thrones book, the first one, right now.
Oh, you are? I'm very. That's the only thing that excites me right now. Those last 2 books, because this just left a bad taste in my mouth. Well, man. And we're never going to have a chance to.
Please, R.R. Martin, please finish this story so that we can see how it was meant to end.
So I can create a picture in my mind about how it really ended. That's all I ask. But yeah, I'm done with Game of Thrones until these next. I'm probably not even going to read the next book. I'll wait till he finishes both books. Now I say that, but.
Well, so our weekly review will have to change to something else, but we're waiting on something worthy.
Yeah.
What worthy of our say so?
There's always something to review. That shouldn't be a problem.
Well, we thank you guys for coming along with this. I will apologize on behalf of HBO for the way it ended. Because I'm their spokesman. But just know that Don and David deserve all the blame for this because HBO wanted to continue it. Yeah. So, you got anything else to add?
No. Very disappointed. It's a waste of time. I probably shouldn't even watch the last season. I feel that badly about it.
I agree because the way the story ended in my head was a whole lot better than this.
I could have written something better than this.
Well, you're a writer.
I am a writer, but that's why that makes it even more infuriating because I know
it's got to be worse for you because you're used to creating complex plot lines and characters and then you see how bad it went to put the cherry on top. It's like they put the cherry on top and forgot the whipped cream.
Yeah. But anyway, that's all we got for today. Thanks for watching, guys. And subscribe if you haven't already. We're going to keep doing this. We'll find something else. There's always something else. And we will see you when we see you.
Bye.